filled with energy. And I want to talk to you this morning about the heart of the matter. And we'll begin with a story about the physicist husband I've mentioned a time or two. Physicist, husband, wife, metaphysician, made for interesting conversations sometimes. And a recurring theme in our discussions was the definition of the term energy. Now, he, being a physicist, was kind of grounded in science, and physics being the study of, everything and how everything works. This is just a very broad definition, the capacity for doing work. And energy shows up in various forms in the physical universe. Electrical, thermal, kinetic. All kinds of energy manifest itself. And it's generally demonstrated by the transfer of that energy from one body to the other. Now, there's an interesting aspect of energy is that the truth is it can never be created and it can never be destroyed. It only has the ability to change form. And it's always fascinating to me that he and I could agree on that definition of energy. But I choose a more spiritual context. And this is from Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of our Unity movement, who defines energy in the spiritual sense as the power of God within us to accomplish. That impetus for yes, moving us forward. Now, we are in an energetic system, the whole of the universe. We are an energetic system, self-contained. Our heart is an energy field. Our vision is an energy activity. Everything about us is an energy. And so, get used to it. We are always moving and active within energy. We are collaborating with, or maybe sometimes we're resisting energy. But we are this energy field. So it serves us to understand how the whole system works in our little context here to help us center, live life more fully, more effectively. And we have a guide going on right now in our community, the book study of The Untethered Soul by the author Michael Singer. The book study began this past week, but it is not too late. You could join any number of the groups going on. Go down to Connection Central afterwards, shameless commercial, and join one of us groups who are gathering to study this material. And this week, the topic is energy. So that we can understand better how our whole bodies work with or against us in the application of energy. So when we're talking about energy, we might use the context of Chinese medicine or martial arts, and it's known as qi. Or in the Hindu and yogic traditions, it's referred to as Shakti, which is the divine feminine expression of energy. And in our context in Unity, or in the general realm of Christianity, we might refer to that energy as God, Spirit, all that is. However we call it, whatever name we give it, however we refer to it, what we're describing is the life force energy that exists in everything, qi. Or we are describing the cosmic primordial force and energy, Shakti. Or indeed, we are calling that infinite, living, loving presence of God that is in us, through us, as us in the world. Because God cannot express without our partnership. Did you sign up for that today? Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yes, we did. Know it or not. And now, the design of how this energy field within the context of our being and our body, how it's designed to work, is this smooth, easy flow. All the experiences we're having in life are expressions of energy. Our thoughts, our emotions, what we're experiencing, it's all a form of energy coming at us. And the design of this system is that we see it, recognize it, and release it. Next one comes. See it, recognize it, release it. See it, over and over and over. That's how the system is designed to work. One thing I observe about myself as a human, any good thing, I can bollocks it up usually pretty effectively without trying all that hard. And so the see it, recognize it, release it. Sometimes I just stop right here with some experience. Maybe I'm not too happy about it. And it gets stuck, usually in the heart chakra. It might even be a positive, joyful experience, stuck because I don't want to let go of it. What if it doesn't ever come to me again? It would be only when I ever had that good feeling. Stuck. So it doesn't matter if we call it positive or negative, good or bad. Whenever we step into the judgment of the energy moving, of the experience we're having, whether it's good or bad, we are limiting the infinite. We are closing in a box of this end bad, this end good, and, well, God, don't bother to give me anything outside those parameters, because I've never experienced anything larger than that, and I may not be able to imagine it. And so we've just told God, here's the box I'm willing to live in energetically. Now, let me give you an illustration of how this energy that's supposed to flow past us, as we are to be permeable systems, allowing the experience of life to come to us, flow through us, and move on. Sometimes it looks like this. You're at the Kapiolani Community College Farmers Market on Saturday morning. Boy, are you in a sea of information flowing to you as you walk down the aisles of that parking lot amongst all the booths. And your mind, which is fully now engaged in receiving that data, maybe up to as many as 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day coming at you. Whew. Oh, I smell the coffee. I wonder where the coffee booth is. I'm going to have to find, and over there, grilled abalone. Well, look at that pair of shoes on that woman. I wonder if I go up and ask, how about that hat? Oh, and look at those pretty hibiscus. Oh, you are just awash in a sea of data, receiving it, seeing it, recognizing it, letting it move on. Right up until the moment that you see somebody walking to you down the aisle in the opposite direction, coming toward you, and, well, this person might not be on your favorite person list this week because you heard from one of your friends what she is saying about you, and it is not nice, and by the way, it's not even true. Well, I'm not thinking very good thoughts about her right now, and I have just stopped that movement of energy right here in my heart chakra. I have knotted and closed off the flow of my chi. Not a healthy situation, mentally, emotionally, or ultimately physically, when we jam up the flow. And at the pace of those 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, when there's a traffic jam, people, we got a disaster on our hands, yes? Do you know that disaster territory, or am I in this situation by myself here at the market on a Saturday? And how do we work with that process of wanting to honor this amazing energetic system that we are, to live most effectively as our human self and our divine self? How do we work those two together so that we can stay in a state of open-hearted energy that allows the experiences of life to come to us, for us to recognize it, and allow it to move on through, no matter whether we call it good or we call it bad? Well, it kind of looks a little like, story first, an illustration of how this wisdom has moved through the centuries. There were two traveling monks, a senior monk and a junior monk. Down the road they go, and they come to the bank of a river with a very swift current. And as they stand there pondering their best means of crossing this river to get to the other side and continue their journey, a young woman approaches them and asks for their assistance because she's afraid to step into the swift current. And the monks look at one another with a knowing exchange of glance because they are recognizing in their own minds that they have taken a vow that precludes them from touching any woman. And they look at one another, and without saying a word, the senior monk bends over and picks up this young woman and puts her on his back and begins to walk into the current and cross the river safely, and he sets her down on the other bank. Well, the young monk back there on the other side, he is apoplectic at what his senior monk companion has done to just not pay any attention to this vow. And he catches up with his companion and he's just he's so shocked, he's so distressed that he can't even talk. So there is no conversation for the first hour as they proceed down the road. And this is spinning in his mind. How could he do that? What happened? I can't believe this took place. And now what happens when we get out of the monastery and I have to tell our senior, you know the spinning wheel in the mind. Well, he was fully engaged. And he never spoke. Another hour passed. Another hour passed. Hours down the road, finally the young monk could not stand it anymore, and he blurted out, "Brother, how could you pick up that woman and transport her across the river? What about our vows?" And the senior monk said, "My young brother, I set the woman down at the edge of the river hours and miles ago. Why do you still carry her?" That's the blockage in the heart chakra. When we bump up against something that we can't allow to just be an experience that we move on through, and it moves through us, to be permeable in the circumstances and situations of our life, which would look a little like this. This is a still shot from the movie The Celestine Prophecy. And Julia, the researcher, and Father Sanchez are poring over a transcript and transcribing this prophecy for a deeper understanding as they follow this journey. And if you notice, there's this illumined path between their two hearts. So they're collaborating together. They are in the energy field of this experience together with open hearts, following a mission together, being in compassionate companionship in the journey. And so their heart energy streams from one to the other in that recognition of the truth of their being and their purpose for life. Now, we can use any number of systems to understand moving that energy ourselves, staying in an open-hearted space. In the yoga tradition, we learn about the chakra system, those energies within our body where energy is present and active. And certainly the heart chakra, the heart center, is one of those in that system. In unity, we have a system known as the 12 powers, which also is indicated by certain locations within the body, connects to a God faculty, a capacity. This is a spiritual toolkit, these 12 powers, by which we can make the journey beyond ourself and toward Christ consciousness through the realization, the full realization of these God qualities that exist within us. And I particularly like the heart math energy system on the right, which shows through their research and study our human electromagnetic field. Each and every one of us, energy is present for everybody all the time. What is the state of our energy is the question. And in the heart math research, what they determined is this electromagnetic field of our body that is centered around the heart may extend as far as 25 feet across. So when you're sitting here all joyful and delighted by the music and the dance on a Sunday morning, We are all sitting in one another's energy field, and there, folks, is the quantum definition of oneness. The state of oneness, whereby we can connect through that open-hearted energy, my heart to your heart, and your heart to Lisa's heart, and Lisa to Peter, and me to Tony, and me to Chip, and on down each row, each heart, each person, as we choose to be in this space of open-hearted connectedness. So I thought we'd practice a little bit of that this morning, because I want you to go home with a toolkit for when you're confronted by, that person on your not favorite person list, or you're confronted by a disappointment in your life, or you get stuck in even a positive and joyful memory that you don't want to let go of. Now, maybe you all can relate to this. When I met my husband, 10 days after we met, I can tell you where we were, what I was wearing, what he was wearing, where we were sitting, when he said the words, "I love you." And I have that so strongly imprinted that I know, even though it's joy-filled, that I knotted up lots of energy in the aftermath of his passing in an effort to cling to that which was an experience that was delightful, and yet it needed to pass through me so that I could be present for the next experience. This is the definition of the now moment, that we receive what's here, appreciate it, recognize it, and let it go, so that the next moment comes with the same awareness and receptivity, to be present to all that life is without getting stuck in any particular spot or experience. Fine to go through the experience. We can walk the neighborhood. We just don't have to buy the condo while we're there. We can move with ease and grace when we stay in an open-hearted, heart-centered connection to all of life. So, heart math, one of the things they have done is measured heart rate variability under certain conditions. And on the left-hand side of this slide, you will see your heart on, you. Your personality, your ego system, the mask you show to the world, the frustration you are carrying in the moment, the stored up aggravation that is sitting like a clenched knot in your heart space. And you apply the energy of gratitude or appreciation or joy to your energy system, and you get the perfectly coherent waveform of your heart rate variability that's on the right-hand side of this slide. So there's our work, people, to choose chaotic energy here, coherent energy here. In my experience, all of spiritual work is so simple. And you're saying, what do you mean apply appreciation and I get this coherent heart energy? I mean, it's that simple. Choose to be in compassionate curiosity for your life and its circumstances, so that as life comes to you, you can receive. You can be present to all that it brings to you, and then you can step into the next moment of experience, the next moment of awareness. It is simple. I'm also here to tell you it isn't always easy. But when we can know how simple it is, we can find that place of ease that carries us through. So I want to give you an experience of how to find that open-hearted, compassionate, grace-filled energy that will move you through the experiences of life, that you can employ whenever anything shows up that isn't what you'd prefer and sends you off into a cascading experience of being mentally and emotionally hijacked by your amygdala, to step back from the fight or flight response to distress and fear and the disturbance of our energy field and step into ease and flow. So I invite you to take a breath with me, a deep, full in-breath, and exhale completely. And continue that for a couple of more in and out cycles, breathing fully in and exhaling completely. And now, as your breath settles into a normal rhythm, imagine it's moving through your heart, into your body. And as you exhale, it passes through your heart. That this becomes the focus of your breath, your your energy of life. And in that breathing rhythm, now I invite you to choose a memory, a thought, a person, a situation, and see it in your mind's eye, and allow this thought to be something that puts you in a felt sense of appreciation, gratitude, or joy. So that as you continue to hold this thought while you breathe easily, it fills your mind with peace. It fills your whole body with a radiant warmth of gratitude. It spreads through your body and you feel the sensation of joy. And as this state continues, you indeed bring yourself into this experience of heart coherence. And it links with your mind, the mind that is the connection to God itself within you. And this is how we arrive in a space of open-hearted energy to meet life, its experiences, its joys, and its challenges. When you hold that image in your mind and you breathe through your heart, in about 1 minute, you will have achieved this state of heart-mind coherence, which opens you to a sense of peace and well-being, which opens a path to greater physical well-being as you literally are changing your body and its cellular response. It opens you to new patterns of behavior as you retrain your mind through this process. Now, in this state, open-hearted, compassionate curiosity for life, now imagine that person, the one that's not on your favorite list this week. Can you greet that person, seeing in them the truth you see in yourself? That this is an illumined being, sometimes falling short in experience of living the truth of wholeness and grace. Hold that compassion for yourself. And with your open heart, beam that thought to this other person. And as you may have heightened the experience of touching into that divine wisdom at the core of your being, perhaps some message arises for you today of what authentic, sincere action you could take to create balance in this relationship. Heal what has been disturbed in the energy field of your life. Take one more very deep breath and exhale completely. And be in gratitude for the experience of awareness, of open-hearted presence, and compassionate curiosity, and divine understanding that illumines your heart and mind. Today, on Aloha Sunday, I love to celebrate the long-held tradition in this church about the culture of our Hawaiian Islands. And for many years, we would observe our unity principles in connection with a Hawaiian wisdom saying. There's a collection published by a scholar, Dr. Mary Kavena Pukui, called Olelo no Eao, a collection that she brought together across literally her lifetime and published near the end of her life, a compilation of Hawaiian wisdom sayings, proverbs. And so I've chosen this one this week to express this idea of open-hearted connection to one another and the movement of energy in which we all live. Ewehe ka umauma I akea. And Dr. Pukui translates that to open out the chest that it may be spacious with your breath, with your heart-centered awareness. And she tells us that the meaning of this translation in application is to be kind and generous to all, beginning with self, and then spreading that generosity of spirit in all of your experiences of life. That's our spiritual work. That's how we move from disturbance in the energy field to wholeness, to well-being, to a deep inner sense of peace. So simple. Chaplains and ministers here stand to support you on those days when it isn't easy, but it is simple. This idea is also reflected in a beautiful passage from Scripture from Isaiah. But those who trust in the Eternal One will regain their strength. They will soar on wings as eagles. They will run, never winded, never weary. They will walk, never tired, never faint. Because this energy field within us is an unlimited source, as long as we don't close up our heart chakra, as long as we can counteract our tendency to tighten up in the difficult experiences of life. When we stand open, willing, receptive, then we contribute to the flow of life, and we live in the infinite, loving presence of God. Aloha.